Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Buy the House, Build the Home. Episode number, I'm not sure.
We've lost track.
We've lost
We don't know.
track.
We're basically professionals at this point.
I hope so. Oh my
Podcast
gosh.
pros.
I went super cash today. I don't even have shoes on.
We love it.
I'm just
I'm
like,
in a
I'm
hat.
just going to sit here. We're talking about gratitude today, and I'm just grateful I don't have shoes on.
You're grateful for legs. I say this to people.
Grateful for
I
legs.
say this to people all the time. I'll be like going through hell and I'll be like, at least I have legs. Because truly,
This is
like,
true.
and if you really think about it, you have feet
Yeah.
that work. You know,
yeah,
your legs
and I have
work.
my big toe and my pinky.
some people
don't you have
don't.
to have both to balance or whatnot?
That's right. Yeah, so
I feel
gratitude
like your
today.
level of gratitude is at a whole different level than most people. Like, you're the type of person that probably wakes up and is like, I can breathe today. I'm alive.
I try to. I will say it is something that I think radically changes your life if you choose to live that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because our world is shaped by your inner world and the way you think and the way you perceive and the way you choose to view things. And I think that I say this all the time, what you look for, you find.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to be mad about, to be upset about, to be frustrated about, to be overwhelmed about, you will find it. And if you look for something to be thankful for, something to be grateful for, something you look for beauty in your day, you'll find that too.
Yeah.
And it really does change. It changes your day even when you're in the worst of
Yeah.
circumstances.
I mean, I know this is a silly example, but it's kind of like when you buy a brand new car and then you're driving it and you realize everybody else has the exact same car that you have.
Yeah.
You're like, wait. And it's not that. It's our brain is so smart. It like seeks out those similar things. So going to what you're saying with gratitude, if you're looking forward with life is good, I can find at least a couple of things in my day that went well. Like, you will start training yourself to see and operate in that manner. I would love to just, I don't even have anything off the top of my head right this second, but dive into maybe a few personal stories, if we can think of any, that where we chose gratitude and either the outcome was changed and or when we got to the other side, we could see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything off the top of your head?
You know, psychologists talk about this a lot. It is a scientific fact that if you intentionally choose to be thankful and to look for something to be grateful for, it will change it. Even physically, your body is all connected emotionally, spiritually, everything. And
Keep that cortisol down.
right. But I think, like, if you look at it in your own personal life, and so to take it to a story, there's been several times that, you know, things start going really sideways.
Yeah.
And you start, it can become so much of it, like I said earlier, in your inner world. It's in your mind, even fear. Like they say 90% of what we're afraid of doesn't even happen, right? So the darkness can just kind of overwhelm your mind. And if you choose to go, okay, this is let's separate reality from like where my brain is going right now. And then let's also find the practical truths.
Yeah.
So like I was kidding earlier, but I have legs, right? I went to the gym one time and I was, you know, I'm trying to get to 5 miles. I don't remember what I was doing. And the elevator opens and this guy rolls in a wheelchair. And I was like overwhelmed in that moment of like, man, I'm over here complaining because of whatever I had going on my day. Somebody said something, you know, I'm like wanting to run faster and be further along. And then I looked down and I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, it's amazing. And there's a skit. It's the funniest thing ever. But this guy, he's joking about how technology has progressed so much and how like everyone has everything at their fingertips and nobody's happy.
Yeah.
And he tells a story. It's an older skit, but he's like, you know, I'm sitting in an airplane and Wi-Fi is available on the airplane for like the first time. And he's like, I see this guy and he's scrolling and all of a sudden it's like not working well. And he's like, oh, come on, you know, and he's like, how quickly? the world owes you something that existed 20 seconds ago. And then he was like, and if you think about it, when we're all on an airplane, we should be sitting there like, we're sitting in a chair in the sky. Like, this is amazing. Like, we're flying in the air, right? But I was like, yeah, I think it's all about your perspective. And so sometimes, as simple as, you know, man, today has been hard. I had a buyer terminate. I had, you know, things go wrong. Things go sideways. I've obviously been through a lot of hell in my life. And there have been many times that when I choose to redirect my focus and my perspective to really like the truth of, I have really great people around me. I have great friends.
Yeah.
I have a great family. I love what I do. I have a car that works. I have a roof over my head. I have the cutest dog in the world. You start going down that rabbit hole that you can just as easily do negatively. You start going down that rabbit hole with the beautiful blessings that you have in your life, and it'll take you right out of it. Doesn't diminish what you're going through, but it will drastically change the way you experience what you're going through.
This is an area I've had to really personally work on in my life. I tend to be a bit more anxious, kind of wired towards, I see the problem, oh my gosh, and I start to spiral down that way. And so these last few years, I've really looked at, okay, when a challenge comes my way, how do I face this in a different manner? For example, the first home that my husband and I purchased, a couple weeks after we got into it, we realized we had a major plumbing problem. Not like, hey, we need to spend $500, but it was like $20,000. And I spiraled. Like I remember, and this was only 4 or 5 years ago now, but I spiraled into like, I'm never going to get out of debt. We're never going to be able to save for retirement. I mean, and we were in our late 20s.
Yeah.
Like there was so much life left to live, so much money to be made. But I went to a really dark place. And fast forward, like we worked with it, we got it handled, we did what we had to do. We now purchased our second home in the same neighborhood, and the cast iron pipes that were under the first house were still under the second house. And so I went in with eyes wide open, but even with inspection, we weren't expecting them to break only a few months in. We thought we probably had a few years. But when this one came, I did still spiral, but I shifted to, I'm grateful for this challenge. This is going to help me better serve my clients within real estate, help friends that are going through this same season of buying some of these older homes and things like that. And I've seen it play out, actually. Like, I now get to serve clients and help them make sure that their plumbing or other major aspects of their home are secure and good for them. I've had 3 or 4 friends call me with plumbing issues and call my husband and I because we've walked through so much. And I'm like, I'm actually super thankful now when challenges come my way and I get to solve them. I may not feel great in the moment. I don't mean to sugarcoat it. Like when you get news that you have to shell out $45,000 for plumbing, that I'm not sitting here like, oh, yay. But I have begun to rewire my mind to go, okay, this is not fun, but I'm thankful that I get to learn that I can handle this, that I can move forward and figure it out. And I hope that I get to be a blessing to anybody else that might be going through this situation or help them prevent going through that situation.
Yeah.
So gratitude has done a lot. It was so funny. I was walking in our beautiful home the other day. We bought a home that was larger than we needed just for our sweet little family. But one day we might want to foster adopt. And so right now we rent out some rooms. And we've already been in the house for a couple of years. But this past week, and my husband always laughs at me when these things happen because I'm like slow to get there. I don't know why. I was walking around, and all of a sudden I was just overwhelmed by gratitude that we own this house and that we have these space where we can rent out these rooms to some of these single individuals that are just in different life seasons, and they can save, they can go after their dreams, things like that. And I was like, oh my God, we have this house. Like, how far have we come in life? And we can provide this space. And I told him, and he's like, you're just now realizing this. And I'm like, yeah, it just takes me a minute. But it's true.
Yeah.
Like your perspective completely changes, and that's then what you attract.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that for yourself? Like when, let's not even yes, we're talking about gratitude, but maybe when you're having a bad day and you choose to stay in the bad energy of the day versus you're having a bad day but you're like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to choose thankfulness. Have you seen the difference in what you attract?
100%. 100%. It's so much as how do you address the challenge? It's like you said, and once you've walked through enough life,
Challenges.
I think you start to go, okay, here comes this thing,
Yeah.
because you'll have another thing
Yeah.
besides plumbing. I'll have other things.
I hope so.
Right? It's just going to happen. It's
Yeah.
life. I don't think anyone really prepared us though, so it can
Yeah.
feel so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But when you can look at it and go, okay, I don't know what is going to happen out of this.
Yeah.
But something is for me in it.
Yeah.
Whether that be a way that I can grow out of my pattern in my childhood that I developed that's not the healthiest, right?
Yeah.
Or I meet someone that I otherwise would have not met, or you grow close to someone in relationship because you're walking through something difficult that otherwise you wouldn't be. So I think that it does attract, if you look at it, if you look at a challenge as an opportunity,
Yes.
it will attract something. And if you can look at the problem and say, there's something for me in this, in this problem, and almost appreciate the problem for what it's going to do for you at some point, it will.
Yeah.
It just does. It's how it works. It's just how it works. And I think when people can grasp that, it's so much easier to live a life of generosity. And, you know, they say comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
When you aren't comparing and when you're not living in scarcity, when you're living in generosity and gratitude, you're no longer measuring up, sizing, well, I should look at this car she has, or look at how thin this person is, or how much money they have, or it gets you out of that.
Yeah.
And that's just victim. It's just victim mentality, and you have one life to live, and it's the way you choose to live it.
Yeah.
And if you choose every day, and it's like you said, it's not going to come naturally.
No.
But if you
have to
choose
fight for it.
Right. I read this article from this woman. It stuck with me. My boss at the company I had worked at previously had passed away. He was 35, had stage 4 brain cancer. It was horrible, very difficult situation. But I read this article of this woman who had recently lost her husband. And this is just a tiny little example, but she was talking about these things that used to drive her crazy. Picking up his socks, like his little tiny hair shavings in the sink that she would like clean. And it was just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And after her husband passed away, she said she was coming home and she picked up his socks and she put his socks in the laundry, in the washing machine for the last time.
Yeah.
And she was just like overwhelmed with like, oh, that thing that was so annoying, like now she misses.
Yeah.
Like I was so frustrated with my husband picking up his socks every morning. Also, he should learn to do that, but well, that's another topic. But she was expressing the things that we so often can take for granted. And I even recently, this past month, I lost a friend, 36 years old. Yeah, very young, horrible situation. And I would find myself throughout my day encountering other people and just upset, frustrated, dramatic. I don't want to talk to this person. And I find myself like, man, life is really short and we're not promised tomorrow. And if you start to kind of see things in that light, that thing your sister did that really bothered you, it gets put in its rightful place.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, does that matter that much? Right? And not to minimize, you don't want to minimize what you walk through, because I think the other side of the coin is being able to sit with your suffering.
Sure.
And be able to not just like positively reframe, which is what I can do.
Everything.
While that's very difficult for you, I can go that. It's a defense mechanism though. It's my way of like making myself feel okay, is like, it's all good. There's a silver lining everywhere instead of like, oh, that sucks, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, finding that balance, and then also truly, especially when you're so many things do happen outside of our control, but your mindset and your perspective is fully in your control. Nobody else can
100%.
change that for you.
100%.
Right.
And I think I want to talk about, like, if you're trying to up level your life too, in whatever form or fashion, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your friendships. When you step into those healthier mindsets and those mindsets of gratitude, you're going to attract like-minded people.
Right.
So you are going to, over the course of time, I'm not saying this happens, tomorrow,
Right.
but you will start encountering people that have that positive outlook on life and are problem solvers and can movers and shakers, get things done, and you are going to see the trajectory of your life start to shift if you can bring your mind into alignment there. I would love, because we're keeping this one super short today, I would love maybe your top 3 tips towards gratitude, and then I'll share mine, just how to be in gratitude, how to start that, practice it.
Yeah. So something very simple that you can do is, sounds dumb, but get a piece of paper, write out simple, basic things. Oxygen, water, right? Put it on a little piece of paper, tear it up, put them all in a jar. Wake up on a Monday, pull out one of those, and intentionally be like, oh yeah. And just think about it. Wow, oxygen. Oh my God. If you start to really think about these things, it starts to become magical.
Yeah.
And there is science around, I think it's 21 days to form a habit. Write down 3 things from your day, even if it was the worst day. Write down 3 things from your day that you can be grateful for, and do that every day for 21 days. Because all of a sudden it's not as hard anymore, because it becomes a habit, and you're actually rewiring your brain, and you can do that, which is phenomenal. So I would say start very basic, very simple, especially if it's really difficult for you.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is to communicate that verbally. If you are in the car driving and you start to think about your friend that you love that's really been kind to you and supportive, like, say that to them out loud.
Yeah.
Hey, I was thinking about you today. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for you. When you put words behind what you're thinking, I think it makes it even more powerful. And then for that person on the receiving end, right? Like, oh my gosh, that was so kind that they just thought about, hey, thank you so much. Even your waiter.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for, if they went over and above, noticing those things and then expressing them verbally. And I think writing things down as well can be very, very powerful for your brain.
Yeah.
That's different than just scrolling on a phone. It's a little old school, but I think it works.
Yeah. I love that. One thing that I really like to do is when I wake up in the morning and then right before I go to sleep, I think of at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. I'm just like, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for this. And it just frames my mind to start off the day, and then kind of wraps it up in a nice little cocoon at the end of the day. So that would be one thing that I would say. I'm going to echo what you were saying, is I think when we start to express it out loud and even include others, I think that can start momentum in others as well. It's kind of that chain of pass it along, So I would say maybe it's once a day, maybe it's not that often if you're not ready for that, but at least a couple of times a week, stop. And what I always love to do is I like to think of 3 or 4 people that either has made huge impact in my life, or I just feel something towards them where I'm like, I need to share this, and I will text them and I will say, hey, I've been thinking about you. I would just love to express this, and I find that makes a huge difference. And then I would agree, journaling is so powerful. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to go way old school. I love that you just grab a piece of paper, grab a journal, and just really sink into maybe even just one sentence of I'm thankful that I was able to breathe well today.
Yeah.
I was thankful that I was able to get to the gym. I was thankful that I made one step towards this big dream in my heart, whatever that might look like. And I think you're going to see that go a long, long way.
Absolutely. I would even say that a problem that you're encountering right now, let's say it's a relationship strain with a spouse or a friend, I would sit with that thing and find something in that that it might be trying to teach you.
Be grateful for.
Right.
Yes.
And
I
that
love
you can be grateful for, because there's always something there.
Yeah.
There really is always something there. Like, okay, this is really hard. This is a hard conversation. This is a difficult scenario.
Yeah.
But what is this trying to show me? What is this trying to teach me?
Yeah.
And what can I be grateful for from it? And even if that's the way that confrontation usually brings you closer together at the end of the day, right? It might even be something that is a little bit more in the future, but it can help you reframe what you're looking at right now that seems to be a problem, right?
And what's it, like you're saying, I'm echoing you, but what is it teaching you? Is it even maybe showing that you have a trauma there?
Right.
That you can deal with, so that you don't have to keep walking this cycle or this issue. Do you need to heal your relationship with maybe finances or with your body or whatnot? I mean, all those challenges that present themselves, I really do think at the end of the day are there to equip us, to grow us, and to bring us to the best version of us, if we allow it.
And I would say, in order for you to become the best version of yourself, you have to live a life of gratitude.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in this life that is thriving doesn't do that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. So. Well, we said we were going to keep it short, so we will. But that's
I'm so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the podcast and our clients.
These microphones.
Yes.
The cameras. Like, look, there's a table here. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, we are both very grateful that we get to do this, that we get to share our hearts, that we get to hear from other guests in all these different areas. But like, just being in real estate, we both love it. How fun is that? So anyway, this is going to be airing, I would think, week of Thanksgiving or around there.
Yay.
So I want to say, like, just happy Thanksgiving to
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
and that I hope you're able to find gratitude in the midst of this season.
Just think about the apple.
Oh.
And that goes in the pie, and then it makes apple pie, and the way that someone figured out how to do that.
I love that. I went to Turkey, and you're like, think about the apple.
Just
That's
think about
true. You know, somebody took time.
The marshmallow. I mean, there's just, you could always look at something and go, wow, this is kind of, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying in general. I'm thinking about the ingredients of the food, and it's like, you could be really grateful for that, you know?
I love that. Okay. Well, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye.